The universe now had worlds. It had matter. It had structure. It had atmosphere, cycles, chemistry, and time. It had places where something extraordinary could one day happen. But still, nothing was alive. No cell, no hunger, no growth, no reproduction, no response. A world may be rich with possibility and still remain silent. For that silence to change, matter had to cross one of the greatest thresholds in existence. It had to stop being only arranged and begin to live. That is where life begins.
In the previous stage, we saw how matter gathered into worlds. That was essential. The universe had gained planets, environments, cycles, and conditions. It had become a place. But a place is not yet life. A world may have oceans. It may have atmosphere. It may have chemistry, temperature, and change. It may be stable for long stretches of time, and still, nothing on it may live. This difference matters deeply, because life is not simply a favorable environment. Life is a new kind of organization within that environment. A world prepares. Life emerges. Those are not the same thing.
This is one of the most important distinctions in the story of existence. Conditions make life possible, but conditions alone do not create life. Readiness is not life. A stage may be built long before the play begins. In the same way, a world may be prepared long before the first living process appears. That prepared world matters greatly, because without continuity, without chemistry, without cycles and time, life may never emerge at all. But the prepared world is still only the beginning. For life to appear, matter must do something more than simply exist in the right place. It must begin to participate in a new way. Before life, matter exists as structure. It forms worlds. It forms chemistry. It forms environments. All of this is necessary. But life begins when matter becomes more than structure. It becomes process. Not a single event, not a brief reaction. Not a temporary pattern that disappears as quickly as it forms. but an ongoing process, a continuing pattern, a pattern that does not merely happen once, but keeps happening. This is one of the deepest turning points in the universe, because matter is no longer only present. It is now active in sustaining a way of being. That shift changes everything.
What makes life so extraordinary is not just that it exists, it is that it continues. A stone may remain, a river may flow, a planet may turn. But life is different. Life maintains pattern through ongoing process. It takes in from the world. It uses what is around it. It preserves itself against breakdown. It continues through time. That continuity is one of the hidden keys to understanding life. Because without continuity, there is no living system. There are only events. Life is not just arrangement. Life is sustained arrangement in motion. It is matter keeping a pattern alive.
It is tempting to think that life begins when things become complicated enough. But complexity alone is not life. Many structures can be complex without being alive. A crystal may have order. A storm may have movement. A planet may have layers and cycles. Yet none of these, by themselves, are life. Life is not merely complexity. Life is complexity that maintains itself. That difference is profound, because now the question is no longer how many parts are there. It becomes, is there a pattern here that preserves itself through time and interaction? This is why life is a threshold. It is not just more matter. It is matter crossing into self-maintaining continuity. This may be the deepest idea in the whole episode. Life is matter organized in a way that maintains itself. It gathers energy. It preserves pattern. It resists breakdown. It continues through process. That does not mean life is invincible. The first living systems may have been small, fragile, and uncertain. But even the smallest living beginning contains something revolutionary.
because now the universe contains a pattern that is not merely formed, but active in keeping itself going. This is a new kind of persistence. Not stillness, not simple stability, but active continuity. And active continuity is the beginning of life. At some point, a deeper threshold appears. A boundary. Inside, a pattern is being maintained. Outside, the wider world continues to provide energy, matter, and conditions. This boundary is one of life's great inventions. Because life does not simply exist everywhere at once. It becomes a distinct living process within the larger universe. Now there is an inside and an outside. Now there is a fragile separation between self and environment. This is one of the earliest signs of biological individuality. Still simple, still primitive, still easily broken, but real. A living system now has its own continuity, and that changes the future forever. The first living system may not look dramatic. It may be microscopic, simple, fragile. It may not think. It may not feel. It may not even resemble what we usually imagine as life. And yet, its significance is enormous. Because with that first living continuity, the universe crosses into a new chapter. Until now, existence has unfolded through physical structure, chemical interaction, and environmental preparation. Now, for the first time, existence becomes biological. Now, there can be growth. Now, there can be reproduction. Now, there can be variation. Now, there can be lineages. Now the future can unfold through living continuation. This is not a small event. It is one of the greatest openings in the story of reality.
Life matters.
because it changes how existence continues. A rock remains. A star radiates. A world turns. But life does more. Life preserves itself. Life responds to conditions. Life adapts. Life extends pattern forward through living process. That is a new kind of persistence. Before life, continuity belongs mostly to structures, cycles, and systems. With life, continuity becomes internal. A living thing carries forward its own pattern. This gives existence a new kind of future, because now, change can happen inside continuity. Variation can accumulate. Selection can matter. Evolution can begin. This is why life is not only beautiful, it is consequential.
There is also a deeper philosophical meaning here. Before life, the universe changes. With life, the universe begins to maintain and develop pattern from within itself in a new way. A living system is not the whole universe, but it is a place where the universe begins to preserve itself through inner process. This is the beginning of a new kind of agency. Not yet thought, not yet intention, not yet awareness, but something has changed. A living process is now participating in its own continuation. That is a profound step forward in the evolution of energy. Because now existence is not only unfolding, it is beginning to hold and extend itself through life. Life is not yet mind. It is not yet sensation, not yet feeling, not yet conscious thought. But without life, none of those things can ever appear. So the birth of life is not only a biological event, it is the opening of the entire future of awareness. The first living system is the ancestor of every later response, every later sensation, every later mind, every later human question. This is why the beginning of life is one of the greatest moments in the whole EOE journey. Because the universe has now created not only worlds, but the first living thread that can one day lead to experience itself. Episode 6 ended with readiness. Episode 7 begins with crossing. A world may be ready for a long time, but the moment life appears,
the universe crosses from preparation into living continuity. Matter is no longer only present in place, it is now preserving process. Worlds are no longer only conditions, they are becoming the home of living systems. This is the Great Crossing, from chemistry to biology, from environment to organism. From prepared possibility to living future. And once that crossing happens, the story of existence can never be the same again.
So the story moves forward again. From particles came matter, from matter came worlds, and from worlds, under the right conditions, comes life. The universe has crossed another profound threshold. It has moved from structure to process, from readiness to living continuity, from silent worlds to the first fragile beginnings of biology. But life alone is not the end of the story. The next question is even more intimate. How does life begin to sense, respond, and experience the world around it? That is where our journey goes next. This is Evolution of Energy.